Okay, so you are planning then to make this available in the North American market.
Yes.
But I'm guessing that the original design for this, and you were thinking primarily the European market. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Well, the issue is an urban issue and it is a global issue.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
It is an issue of mobility. We have been involved with mobility issues for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
The fact that I came up with a light solution, I explained, is that on the one hand, the only alternative to cars were being basically proposed by heavy solutions, while I think that the world has changed, that we have components available there in terms of propulsion which are really cheap. The Chinese produce between 20 and 30 million electric bikes a year.
Yeah.
I'm not at all oriented like the Segway to reinvent the wheel, which doesn't work. As bright as might be the technology, it doesn't prove to be helpful. It proves to be dangerous and moreover not really useful.
Right.
So my approach was totally different. I want no invention whatsoever, no efforts in terms of propulsion,
right,
but efforts on added value towards the consumer.
Right. Okay.
And the frame was built around an ergonomic optimization to get the best out of it. It grew up basically in between ergonomic postures that were optimized the best way possible. That's basically what it was. And all the patents are the result of basically thinking about chain supply, about practicality. Our vehicle can go through a normal door with basically 2.5 feet wide. We can put the widest vehicle through a normal door.
Okay.
All this has been integrated in the vehicle, and it was a long and tough process of reviewing every time and reintegrating everything.
Right.
And I remember having shared at certain moments these drawings in Holland, and this woman, and as you know, the Dutch are 17 million people about, they have 17 million bikes.
Yep.
And this woman said, oh, I love really your concept, but when I come out of the hairdresser, I like to keep my hair dry without having to wear a helmet.
Right.
That day we decided to put a roof on the vehicle.
Okay.
Simple.
So in the range of vehicles, we have a light children's version, and
yes,
that weighs what, about 35 kilograms?
Yeah, about, well, it depends a bit of the battery packs, the engines, you know, an engine is about 8 kilograms, but this one will not be that heavy because we are talking about between 250 to 500 watts. It depends a bit of the results of what we're going to choose and who is out there. We have plenty of suppliers in China that will provide.
Right.
Even in the US, you have Wavecrest that
right.
is able to provide very good products. So I'm pretty open to that. For me, they are just elements to follow and to adapt according to my need.
Okay.
The key is the weighting structure, and in terms of battery, we're going to follow also the best batteries available. We can make some partnerships with Panasonic, with Sony. For example, Sony is good for cold weather. For example, Northern America, Sony will be better batteries than Panasonic. Okay. And you know, according to Finland, Sweden, they prefer Sony batteries because they have cold weather at least 6 months a year.
Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so
behave differently, and there are numerous batteries. You have batteries working with sugar, with zinc, with everything you imagine. So
right.
There's not one recipe for the best technology available. It changes all the time.
Right. So the propulsion platform can be adapted.
It's modular. It's designed
whatever.
for it.
Right.
Yeah. Now we will design basically the beauty is the controller that will manage whatever we put in there and to certain limits.
Okay. So at the other end, then we have what you call the Rhino, which is the bigger, non-folding, heavier commercial vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. So price. What are you thinking in terms of price range? Then have you sort of got a target in mind?
We go between 2,000 and 4,000 USD.
Okay.
Without accessories, because the big deal is the accessories, of course.
Right.
As it's a transformer, so all the luggage, the roof, solar roof, front basket, etc. All these accessories are not integrated in that price. And if we had to put our vehicle through a normal retailer distribution, we have to add another 30 to 50% to our prices.
Okay.
But we want to, we don't believe it's the right thing to do. And for example, there is a project on Indiegogo that raised a huge amount of money. There is no added value whatsoever on this project, but they basically did direct sales to a crowdfunding platform.
Right.
It's very clever. It's totally stupid, but it works.
Yeah,
when you see people buying a product straight out of manufacturer, making them believe it's a cool product, but in fact, it's a straight sale from manufacturer being to the consumer. Nothing else.
Yeah. So they, I think that was the tune of what, about $3.2 million.
$3.5 million. I heard.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right.
But that tells you it's a bit strange, but that tells you that people try to avoid the middleman.
The middleman,
right? Proves it by A plus B. This is what it does to me. It confirms that we are on the right equation by suppressing the retailer that it basically doesn't bring anything, unless you have a highly specialized shop for doing sports biking and where you really need it. But for the rest,
yeah.
It doesn't work.
So let's talk about then what your manufacturing and marketing plans are. Then are these going to be manufactured in Europe? Are you going to have it done in China and then brought in and all the other accoutrements?
The idea is that if we want to control our IP and have joint venture and licensing to start with, we want basically in the future of 3, 4, 5 years to have our own assembly line.
Okay.
But the idea is basically, if we have a joint venture, we want to provide them with our own frames and their own electronics.
Okay.
We can control all the noble part of the vehicle, which is the management of the system and of the frame, which we will be producing in the US.
Oh, the frame will be produced in the US.
Yeah, I want it absolutely to be produced in the US.
Okay.
I want this an American product. Why am I in the US for this? Because I believe the US, and this is my dream and my biggest hope, is that the US will understand that we can reverse the process of cheap imports, and by bringing viable solution to mobility and cities, while we have been advised and asked to solve those issues for the last 50 years.
Right.
If I get the right partners on board, we can go to whatever city around the world to bring the right business model, bring some fresh air to reintegrate the pleasure to go to a city, which is not the case today.
Okay. Well, let's off the record here. I will want to chat to you about this, okay? Because I'm actually working on something where I think we might have an opportunity to collaborate on this. So we can talk about that maybe at a little bit later time. So your first target market, you think, is North America, or are you going to focus on the European market? What's kind of your thinking in terms of?
We practically seeing, if I have to say, the US market seems to be the toughest nut to crack.
Yep.
Obviously, but we are being approached by Asia.
Of course.
South Korea. We are being approached by Ireland.
Yep.
We are being approached by lots of different people. We basically had more than 1,500 companies asking us for samples through Alibaba.
Interesting. Yeah, they want a sample so that they can copy it.
Yeah. So you see, the world is getting global and very, strangely very different.
Yeah.
My biggest dream is to believe that the US or someone out there will understand the potentiality we have to reverse and bring solutions to a certain amount of cities. I'm not saying that I'm targeting New York, Moscow, Paris, London, or the big shots. I know too well these cities to know how they are framed, how to approach them, to say that you lose your time.
Right.
Unless you come there with an army or lawyer, with a pre-contract, with a big case full of cash, and you might get somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I've been in the business for a long time enough to know why we didn't work in all these big cities like Paris, Moscow, etc.
Right.
So this is not what we want to do, but we are able to bring a real great solution there for campuses. They can make money. Students can run the business.
Right.
We are not going to focus on buying some cheap vehicles. We're going to focus only on our brand. So the spare parts will always be there. Everything will be running smoothly, so you can run a decent business out of it.
Right, right. Great. So, so I'm just trying to think what else we need to cover then. So I'm gathering that your business model at the moment is essentially you've done the design work, you have the prototypes, the design, everything that has been put together, and then you're going to license that technology, find a partner and license it. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Basically, what we want to do now, the best option for us is technological partnership for batteries or for manufacturing, then joint ventures in the leisure sector, like golf carts or ATVs, or this is basically the sector in which we want to have joint ventures.
Right.
And then we have license contract, but we want always to provide the frames, the electronics, so we have a control of what's happening.
Right.
Then we'll be focusing on customization for companies or for individuals.
Right, right. Okay.
And focus on leasing to have the appropriate model and franchising for some people starting some business with us. There's a kid down there in the neighborhood, in the suburbs somewhere, has a garage that's wide enough, he doesn't know what to do with his 10 fingers. He can start a business with us. He buys 10, 15, 25 vehicles, right, and he can start to do and give a service to people.
Yep, absolutely.
I believe in the beauty of the individual for having worked for a big organization, and the bigger they are, the more stupid they become.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Well, this is exciting. We'll have to continue this dialogue and maybe
with great pleasure, Bill.
Maybe explore some ways that you and I can work together on this, because I know from what I'm hearing, we're thinking right down the same line on all of this. So
yeah, you see, I know personally. I met Jean-Claude Decaux, who is the big French company that basically is offering urban furniture in exchange of advertising worldwide. He is in New York, he is in Moscow, he is around the world.
Right,
and
right.
Came with Philippe, the Philippe in Paris.
Yeah.
All these bike services are losing money,
yeah,
and that's why they got it wrong. The
yeah.
French believe, the French, and that's the mistake of the big issue of the French, they believe everything has to come from the top.
Yeah.
They want to rule everything that needs to be ruled, and everything needs to be solved for them. It doesn't work out like that. When you have a bike, you want to be free.
Yeah.
You want to be dropping it there, taking it back later on, or whatever. You cannot put that in a model.
Yeah.
But you have to be responsible for what you have at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely great. Well, look, I wish you all the best with this. This is exciting, and I know that we really need to be thinking differently about urban transportation. And that last mile, I think everyone is starting to recognize that that's the piece we have to solve now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Bill.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I'm going to follow up, but I'll do that off here, and I'll send you some emails and things, and we can see if there's an opportunity here. So.
With great pleasure, Bill. Thank you very much
for
the time.
Au revoir.
Thank you. Bye.